51 days to the African Cup of Nations, and Ghana, unfortunately, did not end the last international break of 2023 on a good note, losing once again to Comoros. Comments have come in, a myriad of ones, a myriad of comments, variety of comments on what next for the Black Stars. Should Chris Hughton be at the helm for the African Cup of Nations? Who should take over if Hughton leaves? Well, everyone has their opinions, and that is what they're entitled to. But Ajiman Bedu and former Black Stars players have chipped into the conversation. Starting with Ajiman Bedu, he feels Inaki Williams has still not adapted to the international game, Ghana African international terrain yet. And he says it will take some time. We need to be patient. Augustine Info is of the opinion that sacking Chris Hughton at this time would not be the best thing to do. Mohamed Polo differs. We'll look at all that today. But as usual, don't forget to subscribe if you have not. Click on the notification bell to get more updates. We want to be at the African Cup of Nations once again, the second time running for the African Cup of Nations tournament in Ivory Coast this time. And we'll need your help. I will need your help to get you the best content on the African Cup of Nations. In case you know someone who lives in Ivory Coast that can help us with accommodation and showing us around a wee bit, especially at the airport and everything, please comment in the comments box. I'll send you my email and then we can have a conversation there. We really appreciate this help. It goes a long way to help us find our way easily in and around the country we'll find ourselves in Ivory Coast. Our neighbors up there. So we would appreciate it if you could help us on that front. Thank you so much. And support for the African Cup of Nations can be given to us by purchasing our merchandise or sending us donations as and when you can. Email us and let's have a conversation. Jump right into it, and we'll talk first and foremost about Inaki Williams and his inability to adapt to the African terrain. Ajiman Bedu feels he has still not yet adapted, despite opening his account versus Madagascar. The former Ghana international has outlined the factors leading to the underperformance of the Atletico Bilbao forward for the Black Stars. The 29-year-old, despite his impressive form and legendary status in the La Liga outfit, is yet to match expectations, having switched allegiance from Spain to Ghana prior to the World Cup. Having played over 10 matches, Inaki Williams only found the back of the net on Friday's clash against Madagascar at the Babayara Sports Stadium, bringing an end to his goal-scoring drought and sparking relief in the team as he secured all 3 points. Ajiman Bedu, who was a player for the Black Stars in the past as well as Black Satellites, believes the striker's struggle hinges around 3 main factors. There are 3 things now why he is struggling with the national team. He said he hasn't adapted to the African terrain. That is 1. He needs to help himself is 2, and his colleagues need to help him, he added. The physicality of it and maybe the pitches. It's not 100% about the pitches, but you know how our pitches are, he continues. So I just brought that one in because of where he's coming from and his mentality. Apart from the pitches, which are not too much important in this aspect, his physicality level, or I think he needs to add something a bit up, looking at the Spanish league, how it is, and coming to an African terrain, which is very physical a bit. Ghana currently lost, unfortunately, to Comoros in the last game, and they will play in the African Cup of Nations. Egypt is in our group. Cape Verde is in our group as well, and they will be hoping to make it into the next round, which will be the knockout phases and possibly and the AFCON jinx. But he says Inaki Williams might need to build up a bit, maybe in terms of muscles, strength. The Spanish La Liga is not as physical as African football is, and he could have a point there. He says his teammates also have to help him in terms of the supply line. The African terrain adaptation is also very important. Helping himself is by building his body and his muscles up a wee bit and getting a bit physical with the defenders he will be engaged with. But let me know your thoughts in the comments box. How can Inaki Williams get more goals for the Black Stars? We've discussed it here before. The supply line has to be good, and it has not been great. It's improving, but it's not there yet. your thoughts in the comments box on this one here. My next story has to do with Coach Chris Hughton. Should he be sacked? Should he stay? Myriad of opinions on it. And former Ghana star calls for Chris Hughton sacking. Mohamed Polo, he's in the past not been a fan of Chris Hughton. And with this loss to Comoros in recent times, he has re-echoed his opinion on how he thinks the Black Stars should go in terms of Chris Hughton's future. Polo emphasized that the team needs a change in leadership, declaring that the Black Stars is not a team of experiment. He suggested that Hughton should play the players who are ready instead of experimenting with different lineups. The former Ghana star pointed out that while it's not too late to turn things around, continuing with Hughton as coach could jeopardize the team's chance of qualifying for the World Cup. I think it will be beneficial to sack Chris Hughton before it's too late. Ghana are currently third in the group, where the top team is the only one that will go to the World Cup. He says, nip it in the bud now before it gets to a stage where we cannot do anything about it. What do you think? Well, guessing Ahimfo is also of the opinion that sacking him would not be the best now. According to Ahimfo, sacking Hughton less than a month before the African Cup of Nations would be a risky decision. He believes that the main challenge facing Hughton is selecting the right players for the team. From a technical point of view, I don't think it's the best thing to do. Between now and the African Cup of Nations is just 1 month away. If I'm not lying, you can take the risk of relieving him of his position. But I don't think that is something where we have to subscribe to. The Black Stars technical team, consisting of Hughton, Boateng, and Dramani and Kingston, have come under heavy criticism following the loss to Comoros. Despite the criticisms, Ahimfo thinks that Chris Hughton has a role to play in the team's success. There is still more room, especially when it comes to picking the players for the matches. We have spoken a lot about the call-ups. Now it's picking the players, he said. Ahimfo's comments come as a response to growing calls for the dismissal of the Black Stars coach following our loss to Comoros. It's come under a lot of scrutiny. Chris Hughton has come under a lot of scrutiny. And I spoke extensively about it in my video after the game. He's opening himself up to a lot of criticism, opening himself up to a lot of issues which he could have easily avoided if he had picked a team that did well for him in the second half. It was a no-brainer there. Chris Hughton is setting himself up, and I don't know why he would want to do that. Why, Chris? Why? And many people are of the opinion that this is a bad time to sack Chris Hughton. But is it when is the perfect time to do that? Ahimfo, Polo, contrasting arguments. What do you think in the comments box? From previous videos, many of you want him out. But looking at the proximity to AFCON, should it be done before AFCON? Wait for him to go through the AFCON phase and see how well he does before we do all that? Let me know what you think in the comments box. That has been it for today. Chris Hughton, sack or not sack? Inaki not adapted to the African terrain fully yet, and that is why he's struggling, according to Ajiman Bedu. I'll see you guys in the next one. Any info on how to help us in and around Ivory Coast will be appreciated. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.